Hello everyone, welcome back to English 1510 online 8-week course for week 3. I'm going to be talking about some of the couple of things concerning a couple of forms and stuff like that, some of the feedback things going on. I'm working my way through all the diagnostics that we had from everybody on submissions. I have everybody besides 2, I believe, now in class that actually made all submissions. I got forms as far as I can tell, and then diagnostics. Remember with the diagnostics, when you see your feedback come up there, it'll post a grade, and then just there's not a lot so far that I'm having to mark at the sentence level. And remember that this is a Comp 1 college course, so I won't be doing a great deal of that throughout the semester. I should be able to respond to content more than sentence level things, but as I said in week 1, diagnostics used for intro assignments, looking at MLA formatting, but also making assessments and determinations for tutoring recommendations for the semester. Everyone has to do at least one for the semester through the ASC. Remember that you can contact them and make appointments face-to-face or online for tutoring through here. Tutoring schedules are all listed here by campus and stuff. Our home campus is Auburn Hills. You can use Auburn Hills one, but you can, as long as it's forwarded to me as a confirmation, they can send them through email or whatever. But so far I got, most of the students are getting a YTR1. That is your tutoring recommendation 1. Just means all you're recommended is the 1 for the semester that you had to have to begin with. And remember, even for that 1, you get extra credit. But if you get a YTR2 or 3, that means the assessment indicates, because of sentence level issues, you should be utilizing the tutoring more often, because I'm not going to be going through and doing a great deal of sentence level feedback. I will mark some of those things, but run-ons and comma splices and that kind of body of error, not necessarily the stuff we're looking at, and I know that some students still need that more than others. I will address some of those and at least make you aware of them, but I'm primarily going to be looking at content things, whether or not you're able to adhere to the MLA formatting and consistently respond to the prompts there and give me an assignment that meets the requirements of what I've asked for. Now, this is week 3, so we had the summary and outlines that just went in, and I started going through those. I do have 21 or 22 submissions in total for the class, but looking through those, I think I have 1 or 2 duplicates too, which means that 4 submissions that were due last evening at 11:30 p.m. for the summary and outline, this assignment piece here, if you see, I have 21 submissions on this. This is inaccurate on this diagnostic one. The diagnostic one, and they already had all those reviewed. This summary and outline, I have 21 with 25 students on roster, but I believe 2 of those are duplicates. So I have 5 or 6 students who did not submit a summary outline. Remember, in the class, the submissions and the acceptance things, the main thing to remember is late work is not accepted. So if you submit that now because you don't have it in there, the most I will do is do a partial credit, but I can't necessarily guarantee any type of a feedback file. And with feedback files on those guys, remember, I'm responding to primary component pieces. If you need line by line feedback, you need to utilize tutoring as often as possible. So the summary and outline stuff, I'll be looking through those and posting grades, and for some of you, I'll be making recommendations of minor changes. If I don't say anything about anything with that, there's nothing major you'll have to adjust. Some of you, it has to do with your complication. Remember, the memoir is all about writing a short piece about a problem that came up that needed to be resolved, and that's what the whole entire story turns on. For a couple of you, the complication is one of 2 things. You either have something that's a bit too big for this type of an assignment that we're doing. You're carrying something out. It's going to be a 7 to 10 page paper if it's done right, as opposed to something that's only about a 3-page paper. But the other thing is that for some students is that the complication is slightly in the wrong place. So just make sure you remember this as a rule of thumb for your complication. The complication is the problem that occurs that nothing else can go on until that's resolved. That must be resolved in order to move forward in the story. So and body 2 remembers your reaction to it. So when we're looking at these things, for week 3, we're looking at now where we don't have an overlap. Next week will be the first overlap in assignments, right? The final draft of the memoir with the starting the rhetorical analysis. But this week we get back into having a discussion board. Week 1 we had one where we introduced ourselves, and now this week you're going from your summary and outline, taking your content you created there and using the same organization, and you're now doing your rough draft. So for the rough draft on there, you got the drop boxes here. Make sure that you go in here, you read through all of the instructions that are included. If you didn't go through the summary and outline one, remember that's where the instructional video was for this assignment. The assignment component pieces are all here again. The rubric, the student sample paper, if you didn't read it before, make sure you do now. There are 2 versions. Remember the one that's here that I included for you guys that has this, but also if you go to the second version of it, it actually has it color-coded, showing you the scaffolded pieces of this. The student's complication being here, the reaction in body 2, the impasse, the body 3 resolution, complication, the resolution of the complication, and then the conclusion, the moral of the story, and the lesson they learned, right? Make sure that you review those pieces and that you've gone through all of these instructionals. Once you're done, you're submitting the rough draft itself. Rough draft has to be at least 600 words for your final draft. 750 to 1,000, usually, somewhere in that area is usually the sweet spot for these. Remember, you're not using any second person. Try to get rid of your contractions. First and third person are okay here, but second person isn't okay in any of these. Make sure that you go through those, complete your rough draft, submit it to the Dropbox by Sunday, and then when it comes to the discussion board, you're going up here, and your memoir discussion board piece, you'll be going through, and just like with your other ones, you'll have, oh, hold on, I'll open it. There we go. Now it should pop up for you guys. So in the memoir one, you got 2 things. You're doing your rough draft, and you're also, besides putting one in the Dropbox, you're also going to put a copy of your rough draft into the discussion board. So you'll copy and paste one into here. And remember, discussion boards are graded based off of both your submission of your assignment and review of the classmates. So submit yours once you've written your rough draft. You're submitting into this forum by Sunday, the same time as you submitted into the Dropbox for the assignment schedule, and then you have this assignment Dropbox open until the following Thursday at 11:30 p.m. Remember to get those in by 11:30 p.m. here Sunday, so your classmates and you have the rest of that week up until Thursday to review a classmates. That also helps for your classmate to get the peer review so that they know what any adjustments they might need to make before they do a final draft the following week, right? So you'll submit those by that Sunday, and then the final draft Dropbox will open up. You'll have the time that week to review. I will do my best to have feedback on the summary and outline by that time, any structural things that need to be addressed. And then you'll have your feedback from a classmate from peer review, along with the summary outline from me, and know of any adjustments you need to make. So remember, both here and here, this says review availability ends at this date, but what you're looking at there is actually the timeline for the schedule between your submission of that and the review of that. So with the Dropbox, going back to this page, the Dropbox rough draft to the 28th. So for week 3, you're doing both the rough draft submission into the Dropbox by 11:30 p.m. this Sunday, the posting it into the discussion board for a classmate to review, and then by that same time, 11:30 on Sunday, and then also making sure that throughout that week, you also go through and review a classmate's no later than 11:30 p.m. that Thursday, so that would give them Friday, Saturday, Sunday to have a classmate's review of their draft before they finalize for the final draft in this week. Okay, this week you'll be submitting the final drafts and then also working on the summary and outline. As I said, this will be the first week where things start to overlap. So in this week here, make sure that you get that in and you review with classmates. Also, if someone has already reviewed a classmates, try to make sure you're reviewing someone who no one has reviewed. All right, and make sure that you're hitting as many of those points as you can that are in that discussion board form of what I'm asking you to look for. Because if you look through this, guys, and you look at what's actually being asked of you in this discussion forum, for memoir, I'm asking for specifically the things that are in the framing and layout of the assignment itself, specific to this versus another type of essay. Does the intro follow the general to specific layout? Remember, with the memoir, the thesis here is a lead-in. It suggests or foreshadows the complication. It doesn't state it. Does the thesis work as an adequate lead-in for the story presented, right? That'd be foreshadowing the complication. Is there a clear complication at the end of body 1? Does the story come to an abrupt halt because a problem has arisen that needs to be resolved? Does body 2 offer reflection and advancement of that complication? Is the complication clearly resolved in body 3? Is the moral of the story clear and concise for that in the conclusion? If you're looking at like this, we're looking at the exact thing here that would be in the conclusion. So every one of these is just looking at the primary components for this assignment. All right? Those are the main things for this week. As I said, that you'll be seeing this the next couple days. The anyone who doesn't have theirs yet, you'll be seeing the grades posted up with, for the diagnostics. Make sure you pay attention to the tutoring recommendations on those. And then sometime over the next week, 8-9 days maybe on there, you'll see the feedback and grades post up for your memoir summary and outline. Once your summary and outline feedback are up, you guys will already have submitted a rough draft in there and be working on the peer review format of those, and then you'll look at my feedback and grading of your summary outline along with your classmates' peer review of yours before you work on and submit a final draft the week following. All right, week 4, next week, we'll be talking about the rhetorical analysis that we'll be introducing and finalizing that memoir. Again, if you got questions or comments, guys, instant messaging here in class. This has worked really well so far. Remember, if you sent an email I didn't respond to, instant message me in here. That's the policy of communication once class is underway. All right? But so far it seems to have been working really well. I've had a lot of feedback and a lot of calm back and forth between me and students on different assignment things and everything else. And I appreciate that some of you also had clarification points you wanted to make about some of the work you yourself had submitted. All right? So I look forward to seeing those, and we'll touch base again next week.